Welcome back to the Movie Man. Today I will show you a 2021 action thriller film, Dhamaka. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Arjun Pathak is a top news anchor and one of the most popular television stations in India TRTV. Arjun often gets awards for his achievements. Arjun has a beautiful wife Soumya. Soumya is a reporter who works at the same television station as Arjun. They both love each other and live happily. Soumya teaches Arjun that he needs to have his own characteristics with the phrase "whatever I say will be the truth." Arjun says the slogan every time before reading the news. A few years later there are problems between the two of them regarding work. As a result, Arjun is dismissed from his position as a news anchor and becomes a radio announcer, but Arjun is still working in the same office. Till now neither Arjun nor Soumya have ever apologized for their prestige. Finally they both plan to divorce. Arjun prepares all the documents to take care of the divorce. Even so, deep in their hearts they still love each other. The next morning Arjun worked as usual as a radio announcer with his friends. The topic of the day was about taxes. Just then Arjun receives the first call in a friendly manner. The caller identified himself as Raghu Burmata, who is a construction worker. Raghu admits that he is a poor person who is completely deprived. He complains about expensive electricity bills for poor people like him. In Raghu's opinion, the government should make electricity free for the poor people. Arjun's friends ask him to hang up the call as it is boring. Arjun then hangs it up and is ready to take calls from other listeners, but a few seconds later Raghu hacks into Arjun's radio system so that Arjun can't hang up on Raghu's call. Raghu says he isn't done talking yet, but Arjun has hung up on him. Raghu also says he has a bomb and he will blow up the bridge if Arjun doesn't listen to him. Arjun thought it was just a prank, but Raghu kept on threatening and angering Arjun until Arjun said something rudely. Arjun thinks Raghu is just lying and he doesn't care about his nonsense. Then Arjun hangs up on Raghu right away. A few seconds later the bridge literally exploded and the vibrations were felt in Arjun's office building. Arjun and his two friends look out the window and they are very shocked by the explosion that actually happened on the bridge. Raghu then calls Arjun and asks if Arjun still doesn't believe his words. Raghu said he would call back in 15 minutes. Arjun panics and tries to call the police, but Arjun remembered something: if he can make this headline then he can regain his position as a news anchor, so Arjun's career will rise again like before. Arjun didn't even call the police. Secretly Arjun calls on Ankita, his boss. Arjun negotiates with Ankita that he wants to bring this news, but on one condition: he should be made a news anchor again. Ankita immediately agreed because this news would increase her channel rating. Arjun then changes his clothes and gets ready. Ankita takes all of her best crew upstairs to make this news headline brought by Arjun. They all made preparations quickly. Unilaterally, two of Arjun's friends in the radio department were simply dismissed. They feel hurt for Arjun. Arjun looks at the news on TV that Soumya covering the news at the bombing site. Arjun is very worried for Soumya. Arjun pleads with Ankita to pull Soumya back, but Ankita said that she wants all the best for her channel rating to go up. Hence Ankita purposely assigned Soumya there. Arjun then discusses with Ankita about his strategy if Raghu calls back. A few seconds later, before being broadcast live, Raghu calls Arjun and asks for a fee. Raghu asks for a payment of Rs 25 lakh to Arjun. Raghu doesn't want to call for free because Arjun's TV channel's rating will increase and they will earn a lot of money. If Arjun doesn't want it, then Raghu will go to another channel who will pay for him. Arjun is shocked to hear Raghu's words. Arjun refuses to pay, but Ankita immediately agrees to pay because the most important thing for her is the rating of her news channel. 5 seconds later, Arjun starts his headline Live with Raghu. All Indian citizens can hear their conversation in real time. In the interview, Raghu said that he bombed the bridge because he was the one who built the bridge 20 years ago. In the past, he and several people who worked as construction workers were not given adequate tools to work, until finally there is a storm that causes 3 of Raghu's friends to fall into the sea and die on the spot. But the government, as the implementer of development, did not provide any compensation, and the government did not apologize for the tragedy. The government doesn't care about the deaths of the workers. Hearing Raghu's story, Arjun starts to feel sympathy, but in contrast to Ankita, who only thinks about the channel rating. Then suddenly Raghu asks Arjun to call the Prime Minister because he was the one who had the bridge building program before becoming Prime Minister. Raghu wants the Prime Minister to apologize directly on Arjun's channel. Ankita immediately gives a code to Arjun not to obey Raghu's request because with the Prime Minister's involvement in her channel, the government will block her channel. Arjun obeys on Ankita's orders, but Raghu plays the recording of Arjun speaking harshly to him before the bombing. Hearing this, Ankita gets angry with Arjun and immediately turns off the live broadcast. The broadcast was then transferred to another news anchor by Ankita, but Raghu doesn't want another news anchor besides Arjun. Raghu immediately detonates a small bomb inside the announcer's earpiece. Arjun gets ready to do the live broadcast again. Raghu calls Arjun again and threatens if he moves again from his seat, Raghu will also blow up the earpieces that are in Arjun's ears. Arjun panics and can't do anything, whereas Ankita doesn't know about this. Then suddenly Raghu blows up the other side of the bridge, which puts Soumya in danger. Arjun is getting panicked and worried about Soumya's condition. Raghu gives Arjun 10 minutes to call the Prime Minister and make him apologize. If not, Raghu will go back to bombing something even bigger, but if the Prime Minister is willing to make an apology, then Raghu will turn himself into the police. All Raghu needed was one thing: an apology from the Prime Minister. Raghu orders Arjun to call the Prime Minister's assistant Mathur. Then Arjun immediately called Mr. Mathur and told him to come to the studio. Ankita is furious with Arjun's actions. A few minutes later, someone named Praveen, a member of the anti-terrorist special forces, arrives. Praveen takes control and asks Ankita to get out of the studio room for a while. Before leaving the studio, Ankita said that her channel rating was still below average. On the other hand, Arjun gets news that Soumya is safe. Arjun is a little relieved to hear that. The camera is pointed at the conditions of the bombing site. There, Soumya tries to save a father and a little girl trapped in a car, but unfortunately Samuel only managed to save the little girl while her father died when the car fell into the sea. A few minutes later, Mathur came to the studio. Mathur sits next to Arjun and talks to Raghu over the phone arrogantly. Mathur tells Raghu that the government will not negotiate with the terrorist. Mathur tells Raghu to surrender himself to the police, otherwise Raghu will not be able to survive. Mathur says that while showing the photo of Raghu and his son in front of the camera, Raghu is angry as Mathur calls himself a terrorist. Raghu also said that he had strong evidence that the Prime Minister had committed corruption in the bridge project. Arjun tries to calm the situation, however Mathur thinks that Arjun is defending the terrorists. Raghu detonates a small bomb in Mathur's earpiece, killing him. Mathur is taken to the hospital while Arjun is in deep shock and doesn't want to continue all this anymore. Praveen just realized there is a bomb in Arjun's ear, but Praveen can't do anything as Raghu can see everything from CCTV. Praveen and the ATS team come out of the building to chase Raghu. Ankita takes over the studio again and forces Arjun to keep bringing this news so that her channel rating goes up again. Ankita asks her crew to play sad music. Ankita deliberately didn't clean the blood on Arjun's shirts so that this tragedy would increase her channel rating. Raghu called again and inquired about the whereabouts of the Prime Minister, who did not come. Arjun urges Praveen to call the Prime Minister immediately, but Praveen doesn't promise to do that. Arjun is angry with Praveen, Ankita, who only cares about ratings and orders Arjun to tell Raghu that the government will neither apologize nor negotiate. Of course Arjun refused to do that because he was afraid that Raghu would bomb elsewhere and would cause even more victims. Ankita asks Arjun to frame Raghu as a criminal so that Raghu will make another mistake and everyone will be on the news on her channel. Arjun and Raghu are back on live broadcast. Raghu says that he knows Soumya, who was at the site of the bombing, is Arjun's wife. If Arjun doesn't want Soumya and everyone else to die, then the Prime Minister must apologize to Raghu. Meanwhile Ankita keeps forcing Arjun to tell Raghu that there is no apology and no negotiation, but Arjun disobeys Ankita's request. Arjun tells Raghu that the government agreed to apologize and the Prime Minister will come. Of course this makes Ankita furious with Arjun. Ankita then called a rival media channel to spread hoax news that Arjun had received bribes several years ago. Sometime later the hoax news was reported in a competitor's media. Ankita did it all to take revenge on Arjun for disobeying her orders. Ankita said goodbye to Arjun and left the studio because her channel's rating had already peaked with the hoax news. Ankita doesn't need Arjun anymore. Now Arjun can't do anything. Arjun then tries to buy time. He spoke directly to Soumya, who was at the bombing site. It was a rare moment between Arjun and Soumya, as they both had not spoken to each other for the past few months. Shortly helicopters arrived to carry out the evacuation. Soumya pleads with Raghu directly not to bomb the bridge until all the women and children are evacuated. Raghu agrees with Soumya's idea. Soumya thanks Raghu and asks the government to act fast implicitly. Arjun invites Soumya to get back together and says they will all be fine. Suddenly the bridge collapses and makes Arjun lose contact with Soumya. Arjun can only cry and hope Soumya is fine. Raghu apologizes to Arjun as Raghu did not expect the bridge to break. Praveen calls Arjun and says the ATS team already knows Raghu's location. They are sure that Raghu's current location is in the building next to Arjun's office. The ATS immediately went to the building. Other news channels also reported this. Raghu then calls Arjun and says he is going to blow up the next building, which is full of the ATS team. Turns out Raghu wasn't in the building. Arjun tries to tell Praveen, but it's too late. Due to the explosion of the building, the tower crane falls on Arjun's office building and destroys Arjun's office. Luckily, as a result of the incident, the bomb in Arjun's earpiece came off and Arjun was able to survive. But suddenly another news channel says that Raghu is the man who died during a storm a few years ago on the bridge. Arjun is confused who claimed to be Raghu and had carried out the bombing. Arjun realizes that the man who claims to be Raghu is honored, Raghu's biological son. Later Anand called Arjun. Just then Arjun says he already knows the truth. Raghu is his father who died during the storm tragedy. Anand is shocked that Arjun already knows his identity. Even Arjun knew that Anand was calling from downstairs, the IT room. Arjun then hangs up the phone and prepares the camera to read the live news so that everyone knows the culprit is Anand Mehta. After all cameras are ready, Arjun hides behind. Sometime later Anand appeared and was watched live on television. Anand holds the detonator and prepares to blow up Arjun's media office building. Arjun tries to negotiate with Anand so that Anand turns himself in, but quickly the ATS team shot Anand right in the heart, killing him. A few minutes later Ankita spread the hoax news that all this time Arjun had been working with Anand to carry out the bombing. Arjun is shocked to hear this news. Arjun then calls Ankita and gets angry. Arjun asks Ankita why she is framing him as a criminal. Smiling, Ankita replied that she knew this was a hoax, but even so it was still news. Ankita doesn't need Arjun anymore, so Arjun is slandered and will be thrown in jail. Another news channel reported about the ATS team who was going to Arjun's office building to arrest Arjun. They also reported that Soumya had died. At that moment Arjun's heart shattered into pieces because he lost the person he loved so much. Arjun has no hope of living anymore. He looks at his divorce documents and then apologizes to Salma via voice note. Another news channel reported that the ATS team was already in Arjun's office and preparing to arrest him. Arjun then takes Sanan's detonator and blows up the TRTV building, killing everyone in the building including himself. Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. Thanks for watching.